The day I
I
signed
do.
the prenup with my
I do
wife felt
too.
strangely surreal.
Forever.
Like stepping into a
Forever.
world I already knew was rigged.
Look at this
But
spike. It's from the
pretending
new
it wasn't, she
strategy.
handed me
Yes,
the
but the
documents
drop-off
with a
is
gentle,
concerning.
Let's drill
almost
into the
nervous
user
smile,
data.
insisting
The
that it
data
was
shows
just
a
to
clear
protect
upward
herself.
trend here.
I
Right,
forced
but
a smile
Q3 looks
back,
like an outlier.
nodding
Yes,
in
let's
agreement while
investigate that.
keeping my real thoughts carefully hidden. What she didn't know, what she would never suspect, was that I had already purchased her company months ago. Every contract, every share, every board decision quietly, carefully, it was mine. Now I wondered how long it would take for her to notice. Or if she ever would. She had built her company from the ground up. I had watched her passion, her late nights, the way she argued with vendors, and how she celebrated every small victory. She loved her business as if it were her own child. And in a way it was, and now unbeknownst to her, I was the unseen guardian of everything she had worked for. That thought made me smile even as I pretended to leave. Through the prenup, carefully scanning clauses, pretending to be concerned for her future. The irony of it all wasn't lost on me. She wanted protection, a safety net against me. And yet the net had already been laid by my own hand. We talked lightly as we signed the papers, her voice full of warmth and reassurance. I just want to make sure we are both safe, that nothing can ever hurt us financially, she said, her eyes shining with sincerity. I nodded, putting on the expression of agreement, of a husband who respected her wishes. But inside I was calculating, thinking about how each clause she had insisted on was meaningless, when the real power already rested quietly in my hands. My heart raced not from malice, but from the thrill of the secret I carried. It wasn't deceit for the sake of harm. It was a protection of her ambitions without her knowing. After the ceremony, while friends and family celebrated, I couldn't help but watch her. She laughed freely, the kind of laughter that comes from pride and achievement, completely unaware that every step she took for her company was being silently guided by me. The prenup lay on the table at home, still unsigned by me formally though. The signing ritual had been completed, with a signature that carried a double meaning. She had asked for a shield against financial risk, and she had one, but it wasn't the shield she imagined. It was mine to control, mine to protect, and mine to reveal or not reveal at the right time. As night fell and we settled into our new life together, I kept thinking about the weight of my secret. I loved her fiercely, and part of me wondered if she would ever forgive the deception, even if it was meant to preserve her legacy. For now though, I remained quiet, watching, waiting and protecting the empire she had built, while she remained blissfully unaware that the prenup she thought would protect her was already a formality, irrelevant against the reality I held in my hands. Weeks passed after our wedding and life seemed calm, almost deceptively normal. We settled into our routines and she dove head first into her company, excited about new projects and ambitious plans. She didn't know that I was quietly behind the scenes overseeing operations, approving budgets and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Every decision she made, every deal she negotiated, every sleepless night spent worrying about her business, all of it was under my silent watch. I could have revealed my ownership at any time, but I chose to remain in the shadows, allowing her to believe her empire was still entirely her own. There were moments when I caught her in the office, engrossed in spreadsheets and conference calls, her hair pulled into a loose bun. Eyes sharp with determination, she moved with confidence, unaware that I had quietly aligned every obstacle she faced to be manageable. Sometimes she'd sigh in frustration when a deal didn't go her way, and I would step in, quietly redirecting the outcome without her knowing. Watching her work so hard, so passionately, I felt a strange mixture of pride and guilt. Pride for her relentless drive, guilt for the secret I carried like a shadow between us. Our home was calm in the evenings, filled with small routines, shared dinners, light conversation. The occasional movie. I maintained my normal facade, never letting the tension of my secret seep into our marriage. The prenup still sat untouched on my desk, a symbol of her concern, ironically meaningless now. She had signed it to protect herself, but the truth was she didn't need protection from me. I was the invisible safety net she had asked for, though she would never know it. Sometimes I wondered if it was cruel to keep this secret. Would she feel betrayed when she eventually discovered the truth? But then I reminded myself of why I had done it. It wasn't about power or control. It was about love. I wanted her to thrive, to feel independent, to own her success fully without any external interference. and in a strange, twisted way, keeping my ownership a secret, allowed her to experience the purest form of achievement, one that she believed was entirely her own. Yet the tension of secrecy, not at me every time she celebrated a business milestone. My heart leapt alongside hers, but there was always that quiet whisper in my mind. The truth would change everything. How would she react? Would she feel deceived or grateful? I pushed those thoughts aside, focusing instead on her joy, her confidence, the way she carried herself, like the unstoppable force I knew she was. I kept monitoring, guiding, and protecting her world from the shadows, silently ensuring that her dream remained intact. And so life continued in this delicate balance, she unaware thriving, living her best life, and I the quiet guardian, carrying the secret that could alter everything if revealed. But for now I remained patient, watching her, loving her, and quietly protecting the empire she had built with her own hands. The moment of truth arrived sooner than I had expected. It started with a simple phone call in the morning. She was frantic, pacing our home office, waving a stack of papers in her hands. "I don't understand," she exclaimed, her voice tinged with panic. "The contract for the new client. It's missing, the account numbers don't match, something's wrong." I watched her, feeling a pang of guilt and anticipation. The secret I had guarded so carefully was about to come crashing into reality, and there was no turning back now. I took a deep breath, in motion for her to sit. "Let's go through it together," I said calmly, though my heart pounded. She hesitated, suspicion flickering across her face. Then as I opened my laptop, I revealed the truth: every transaction, every board decision, every ownership document. I laid it out before her step by step. She stared in disbelief, her mouth slightly open. "Eyes wide, you own my company," she whispered. Voice trembling, I nodded, watching as the reality sank in. The shock on her face was palpable. She sank into the chair, hands gripping the edge of the desk. "All this time, all my decisions, my work, and you were behind it?" she asked, a mix of fear, confusion, and anger in her tone. I explained everything calmly. The reasons I had kept it secret, how I had only intervened to protect her vision, to ensure her hard work never crumbled. The prenup, the very document she had insisted on to protect herself, suddenly seemed trivial, almost meaningless. Tears welled in her eyes as she processed the revelation. "I can't believe you," she whispered, shaking her head in disbelief. "I trusted you and you never told me." I reached out and took her hand gently. "I did it because I love you," I said softly. "I wanted your company to succeed, to flourish, without you ever worrying that I might interfere or take over. I wanted to be your secret ally, not a threat." She looked at me, trying to gauge the sincerity in my eyes. For a long moment we sat in silence. Her mind raced through the months of unseen guidance, of decisions she had made, thinking she was completely on her own. And then slowly the anger began to mix with something else: relief. Relief that her company had never been at risk, that the man she trusted had been protecting her all along, even if it was behind the scenes. "I don't know whether to be angrier or grateful," she admitted, voice breaking slightly. I smiled gently. "You can feel both, that's okay, but know this: your empire is yours, truly yours. I've just been the safety net you didn't know you had." She leaned back, tears rolling down her cheeks, finally laughing softly through the tension. It was a laugh of disbelief, of understanding, and maybe a little awe. In that moment, the prenup, the secrecy, and the shock all blended into something stronger than either of us had imagined. Trust reborn under extraordinary circumstances. After the initial shock faded, we sat together in the quiet of our home office, the weight of the revelation still lingering in the air. She had been through so many emotions: anger, confusion, disbelief. And now there was a strange mix of relief and wonder. She looked at me, tears still in her eyes, and shook her head. "I can't believe this. That all this time you were protecting me, protecting everything I've worked for without me knowing." Her voice was soft, almost reverent, as if the truth had transformed the way she saw our marriage and me. I reached for her hand again, holding it gently. "I wanted to give you the freedom to thrive, to make mistakes and successes on your own terms," I said, "but I also wanted to make sure that if something went wrong, your hard work wouldn't be lost. I wasn't trying to deceive you to gain control. I did it out of love." She paused, letting the words sink in, the anger slowly giving way to understanding. Her breathing steadied and a small smile appeared. Fragile but genuine, we spent hours talking that night, going over every decision I had made behind the scenes. She asked questions, lots of them, and I answered honestly, showing her every document, every transaction, every step I had taken. Slowly, she began to understand that the prenup she had insisted on, the protection she thought she needed, had already been ensured in a way she could never have imagined. Instead of taking from her, I had been quietly strengthening her position, making sure her dreams and her company were safe. By the end of the night, a calm settled between us. She leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, "I feel safe, not just legally, but with you. I feel like I can trust you completely now, because I know you would never let anything hurt me, or what I've built." And in that moment, I realized something profound. Real protection in a marriage isn't about contracts, ownership, or money. It's about trust, honesty, and the willingness to be vulnerable with one another, even when the truth might shock or hurt. The prenup, the secrecy, the months of hidden guidance, it all became secondary to what we now had, a shared understanding and a renewed bond. She laughed softly, the kind of laughter that comes from relief and awe, shaking her head at the irony. I made all these plans to protect myself, and it turns out I didn't need to. I had you all along. I smiled, squeezing her hand, feeling a surge of love, stronger than anything I had felt before. From that day forward, our marriage changed in a subtle but profound way. Decisions were made together,